Welcome, everyone. Watching UAP Truth 33. I'm John. I'm your host. Welcome. Wonderful day. Beautiful outside. And, yeah, I was going to upload later, but, I upload at 5 o'clock every day, but I was going to record this later. But then I watched a couple, different shows. I watched, Sicko Activo with Pavel. And, apparently there's this new anonymous whistleblower on Reddit, and I tell you what, he was dropping some very interesting tidbits, to say the least, and some documentation, referring to anti-gravitic technology, that he specifically worked on the Tic Tac. This Reddit profile or whatever has since been taken down, this account. And which makes sense, if he was releasing something sensitive, common sense would tell you that it would be taken down pretty quick. So it kind of lends credence to possibly what he was referring to and what the evidence that he was showing. Sorry about that. And Pavel goes really, he gets into it pretty deep, a lot deeper than I'm going to here, because this has been already, it's all over the internet. There's already 3 shows that have went into this subject in depth. I may post a couple images of these documents relating to the Tic Tac and anti-gravity, and the things that he said. You can you can screenshot it or you can pause it and read it, whatever you want to do. It's your choice. But I'm not really going to get into it. He kind of goes in on Elizondo and some of these other figures in the UFO community. But he also backs up some others, like Michael Herrera, Jake Barber, and David Grush. This is where things start to get kind of hairy, because I also saw another content creator kind of discrediting this guy immediately just based off of typos and misspellings. He claimed it was weird. It was red flags, it's not an official document. It's a Reddit post. I myself, I might even have a typo in the title of one of my episodes. I might not catch it. Does that mean that the whole episode is garbage? No, it just means I screwed up on typo. So I feel like some of these content creators that do this, almost feel like they're working for the other side, man. That's my opinion. I think some of these content creators, especially the ones that got popular when their content really isn't that engaging. I start to question if this traffic isn't being driven to these more skeptical people who basically shit on the community, shit on the whole disclosure movement. And the strange part is the same guy. I'm not going to name names. That's just not my MO. You can figure it out, though. He said the UFO community is so easily manipulated. So easy, right? And I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, man, because you love to manipulate the community, this person, And then I watched another episode that was like one episode prior to this one that he made. I know you guys are probably frustrated because I'm not naming names, but it's a popular, content creator. And the show begins with a V. I'll just leave it at that. You guys can figure that out. So, but then, he shows this Danny Jones episode with a guy that Danny Jones was interviewing. Shout out to Danny, because look, Danny Jones will at least tell you that he's skeptical of this, right? He's not a UFO content creator, right? He's just a podcaster that interviews people. So I don't have no problem with him being skeptical. That's fine. But when you have somebody that's like UFO content creator that does nothing but shit on anything that has to do with the credibility of UFO whistleblowers or UFOs in general, and all he does is point out his red flags and all that, I question that. You know, what's the motivation behind that? You know, especially when he wasn't a UFO guy. He was a true crime guy, and he was unsuccessful with that. All of a sudden, he comes over to the UFO community, and all of a sudden, there's traffic getting funneled to his show, which is what it is. But so he poo poos all over this anonymous whistleblower who the documents that this whistleblower released looked legit. They were in color. Even John Greenwald said that the FOIA documents that he got that related to this subject, all his were in black and white, but this guy's, all his documents are in color. You know, this document with the Tic Tac and all this, and granted, you know, could somebody fake this? Yeah, they could, but who would really think to do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. And I'm not really saying whether this UFO, this anonymous whistleblower on Reddit, I'm not willing to stake my claim that he's legit or not legit, but I'm going to stick to, I'm cautiously optimistic that he's legit, that the documents that he supplied in his post look legit. The fact that the post or that the account got took down immediately after also makes me think that it's legit. And his opinions about other people, like you know, high profile names in the UFO disclosure subject, his opinions about those people kind of coincides with my suspicions. Also makes me feel like maybe this guy's legit. Um, and then the fact that this same content creator that was shitting all over this anonymous whistleblower, he goes and he uh, totally backs up this guy that was on Danny Jones, who was calling Stephen Greer, basically just trying to um, just character assassination, you know, making it a thing that maybe possibly Stephen Greer's gay. Like, what does that have to do with anything? You know, oh, but he's married and this and that, but he didn't come out and tell people he was gay. Meanwhile, their evidence for Stephen Greer being gay was an op-ed that he wrote in the past in a newspaper where he was basically saying he was gay or that he was a part of that community, which if he is or he isn't, who cares? And if he's married, but he still, you know, is possibly gay on the side or bisexual, like, it's not our business, dude. Like, and why does that discredit anything Stephen Greer says? And then he tries to make it out like Stephen Greer's a Mossad agent because he's married to a woman, you know, and the marriage went down in Israel and she's possibly Jewish. Like, who cares? Why does these things matter? Like, you're trying to capitalize on people's prejudices, and you're doing it in a way to try to discredit this man when he's been a pioneer in the UFO disclosure movement since what, the early '90s, late '80s. I mean, dude. So you know, I'm sorry. I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. You know, I'm not better than anybody else. I'm not trying to be. I'm just pointing out some things that frustrated me. You don't have to have that same opinion. But I caution everybody who watches this to always be aware of these things, you know, because it's easy for us to get sucked into these spaces, you know, these negative vibrational spaces, you know, where all of a sudden you see people getting drugged through the mud, you know, and it kind of angers me when I see that. You know, I saw it with Amy Eskridge, you know, and I see it with Stephen Greer right now, which I'm sure he's used to this because, you know, he's been attacked um, for decades now. So I'm sure he's used to it. But, you know, it just, I want to point it out. I want to point it out that, you know, the fact that people would use his, we don't even know, you know. So he wrote an op-ed. It didn't say um, that he was or wasn't gay. And who cares if he is? I mean, seriously, like, I don't care about that. My whole interest is about UFOs. Is about you know, what are they here for? If non-human intelligence is here, why are they here? What do they want? What do they look like? You know, how can we interact with them in a positive way? That's what I'm interested in. That's it. All this other stuff, all this Twitter bullshit, these, and that's the type of stuff that this is. This is that type of bullshit. It's bullshit. And the fact that I even gave this stuff, these subjects, a space to rent in my head, um, angers me at myself because this is not something I get into. But I just, I want other people to be aware of the manipulation that goes um, on both sides. You know, yeah, sure, sure. I agree that there's people who um, claim that they used to be intelligence, but now they're in the UFO community and they're talking about these um, beings from all over Zeta Reticuli. There's these you know, avians and there's all these other supposed species, and they're so special that they have a direct line of communication with them, and you got people who are channeling and and a lot of wacky, wild stuff that I personally think is fiction. But hey, I could be proven wrong. But the thing is, like, I'm not going to sit up here and put their picture on the screen and just try to shred these people and tear them down. I just let people know what I believe, and everybody's free to believe what they want to believe. But it just makes me angry when content creators that are in this space, um, it appears they're here for the wrong reason. And so that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm done with that. We're done with that subject. On to the next. But so I'm going to post some footage here today. We're going to get into it. We're going to fucking break it down. We're going to do what we do. We're going to have fun, right? Um, we're not going to character assassinate people. I'm done with it. I'm done. I'm done with it. I am done with that. Without further ado, let's get into this. The Pavel Sicko Activo um, podcast, and what I'm going to show you here today is these documents from this Reddit um, whistleblower, and you guys can check out this if you want. You can pause, take a screenshot, read it for yourself. Very interesting. Um, these documents. I'm not going to go into them here. They're all over the internet. Pavel himself goes over it in a lot of depth. This guy apparently kind of backs up the claims of people like David Grush, Jake Barber, and Michael Herrera, and he kind of um, he cast doubt on a lot of other people like Elizondo and Lukatsky and guys like that, which I'm not sure. I don't know, maybe not Lukatsky, but a couple of the other of these guys who are pretty much the face of the disclosure movement, and that they've done some shady things to keep the public in the dark about anti-gravitic technology and zero point energy. So just wanted to give you guys a brief glimpse of these documents, or not documents, but this post and the documents that he uploads with the post. So yeah, just kind of browse, see what you guys think. I'm sure I went into depth on my introduction about it. And the Black Vault kind of came out and said that when they FOIA'd these documents, they were in black and white. This guy apparently has color, and which kind of would lead credence that these people may know what they're talking about. And when he's explaining a lot of the technical aspects of anti gravity, and he's an electrical engineer, he claims. Let me know what you guys think, man. Of course, There's been others that have kind of cast a doubt on this person and his claims. But I'm not, you know, just here to explore, man. See what it is.
Of a 10-meter metallic sphere with a 1-meter dielectric coating in decibels for 3000 megahertz and 25 elements per wavelength. Take the screenshots, guys. They talk about an underground bolt here, new building purchased for Bass. And this is the kicker. This is information about the Tic Tac and how it operates, the temperature to which it goes, how it goes supersonic. I don't know what this is, but take a screenshot, guys. I'm just being honest here, guys. This is really hard to read. It's really small letters. It's language that I do not understand. This one is interesting. Velocities and accelerations of Tic Tac for parametric time durations of event. Look at where it says Mach number. This is really wild. This is 81,000 miles per hour or 107 Mach. This is wild. This can go anywhere in the universe, if true. That's wild. Summary and conclusions of compressible numerical analysis, Tic Tac geometry. Take a screenshot, guys. I'm giving you some time. You are the ones that are going to go through all of this. I'm already talking to Missile Man, who can explain to me what this is and if it sounds legit. And I am going to try and get him on the show so he can explain all of this. We're going to go through it. If he says yes, I hope he does. Because if somebody understands this, it's him. He works on propulsion. That's his thing. So this is pretty significant. I'm pretty positive that he's excited about this. This is the OSUP document. And this cannot be FOIA'd according to the leaker. This is interesting, guys. This is a document of Jim Lakatsky, one of the hostile witnesses that I think is hostile witness that David Grush insinuated during the hearing. And he said publicly that he's not going to testify. So he was the boss of OSAP. He was over Jay Stratton on the DIA. Take a screenshot, guys, because that's all you're going to get. That's pretty interesting, right? So let me know what you think about this. I know leaks on Reddit.
Shout out to Pavel, man. That was awesome. Really awesome of him. You have these other content creators that are trying to, I'm not going to even use the plural here, but, they're trying to cast doubt on this, trying to shoot it down already, which kind of makes me wonder, who do these people or that person work for? Like, makes you wonder. All right, so I'm back. I'm much more relaxed. I want to say this, at the end of what I said earlier, I said about people channeling and all that, and that I felt that like it was fiction. Now that doesn't mean that I don't believe in experience. I believe that I've had um, a low level of experience that I can't explain. Never anything face to face. Never saw an alien. I have seen anomalous things in the sky, and I've experienced a lot of strange synchronicities, deja vu, like wild, vivid dreams, things of this nature. Where in the dreams I'm communicating with something. Um, so that I believe that stuff. Those things I think are happening to a huge number of large number of the population, and I think that's why there's a lot of pressure to disclose. Um, I don't have anything personal with anybody that creates content. I don't really uh, care. I'm just going to choose not to watch people that are into this slinging mud, tearing down type of stuff. Um, it's no good. It's no good, man. And it's being orchestrated. Definitely being orchestrated. So it's tough. This is one of those subjects, like I said a million times, it's a hall of mirrors. To try to figure out what's real, what's not, who's genuine, who's not. It's difficult. It's really difficult, you know. And maybe I'm being too harsh in my judgment. Is that possible? Maybe. You know, I don't know. You know, uh, but I think we need to get past this aspect of because it hurts the movement, right? So just today, so this um these things that bothered me now I take time from my investigations, I take time from my research, and, I take time from entertaining you, you know? And maybe this is entertaining to you, but, I mean, I take time away from what my mission goal is, you know, which is figure out what this phenomenon is. There's beings here. Who are they? What do they look like? What do they want? How can we interact with them positively? Trying to get you guys, get your eyes on good footage and also get your eyes on footage that maybe is AI. But you know, we'll talk about that too. You know, maybe it's footage that's questionable. Could be AI, could be real. Who knows? But let's look at it. Let's examine. Um, I believe there's non-human intelligence here on the planet. Um, I believe, based on what people in the know have said, that there's possibly a hybridization going on here. Just think about it, right? So if we would travel to another star system or another planet somewhere and try to set up shop, there's a good chance that our physiology isn't going to be um, on the same level as what the atmosphere of that place environment is. So, you know, would we be able to breathe? Would we be able to, you know, would that star, you know, that planet uses, would we burn up? Who knows? So we would have to try to figure out a way to um, uh, adapt and adjust to the environment. So maybe there is a hybridization program that's going on that has been going on for thousands of years. You know, maybe our whole religious is, you know, religions of the world are some kind of construct that's been created so that we don't take each other out, you know? Um, because I believe that goal of being human, right? For me, is to rise above our animalistic proclivities and become something greater, right? To evolve out of this um the mud, basically. Come up out of the mud, you know, and to evolve into something greater than just animals, animalistic desire. I think that's the goal of this. I think that's the goal of life, man. You know, and you look at like the pyramids, you know, and the mathematics behind the pyramids. You know, there's a lot of stuff encoded in the architecture of the pyramids, you know, measurements and stuff that line up with the speed of light and the distance from the sun. Like, if you research this, man, it'll really blow your mind, dude. Like, people that built those pyramids were really in tune with, man, a lot. Be able to accomplish that, um, it's like they were sending a message to us through the aeons, you know, and just the saying the structure of the pyramid itself, you know, when it goes from the base to the tip of the pyramid, like, what does that symbolize? You know, to me, that symbolizes evolving out of the physiology and the mud of being an animal to the spiritual. That's my that's why you see a lot of these. I keep a lot of these little trinkets, little pyramids. You know, you can get them pretty cheap, but there's copper in there, there's crystals in there, and it's supposed to help you meditate. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. So without further ado, though, I got some more footage for you. Check this out.
Or the moon with telescope and captured this. I see the moon. I see a couple ice spots right there, a couple blue dark spots right there. They'll zoom in. What's going on? Okay, nothing. I see the dark shadow, dark side of the moon. We see here, we got a red light right here. Oh, we got a little UFO craft there. Another red light. What's going on? Are these? Is this like a tower for aircraft to avoid? What's this? What's that guy doing? This is a moon crater, and it seems to be some red light reflecting on the very edge of the crater. This is a really good video. This is, okay, it's zoomed in now of whatever the craft is. Going that way. That red light, though, what is that? This man...
That's pretty good footage. And I had the footage of the guy. It was different than this, but I decided to use this because I like the way this guy was narrating it, and spooky music and all that. So yeah, I think that's there's a good chance I think that's legit, my opinion. But hey, I could be wrong, man. I've been fooled before. I mean, not know what you guys think. What do you guys think, man? Was that legit or what?
But then
Hello, friends. So
I played around with it and What was that? You guys.
Why you think it's possible that it came from some other intelligent civilization.
Right. So I'm a scientist, and I basically follow the evidence, just like Sherlock Holmes, trying to find solutions. It's a detective story. You have some anomalies, some things that don't quite match what you expected, and you're trying to find an explanation.
For 47 years, NASA's Voyager 1 has been our most distant ambassador to the stars. But since March, something extraordinary has happened. The spacecraft began transmitting corrupted, seemingly random data streams that left NASA engineers completely baffled. Until now, the Majorana 1 quantum computing chip has just decoded what appears to be an artificial message hidden within Voyager 1's corrupted data. This isn't a glitch or system failure. For the first time, quantum computing has revealed what might be an intelligent message embedded in deep space telemetry. Let that sink in. A spacecraft 14.5 billion miles from Earth is suddenly sending signals containing structured information that was invisible to conventional computing systems. NASA scientists are stunned by the implications. This could potentially be the first evidence of non-human intelligence interacting with our technology at the edge of interstellar space. The discovery challenges everything we thought we knew about Voyager's journey and what might be waiting for us beyond our solar system. When NASA first detected the anomalous signals in March, they appeared as complete gibberish. Conventional analysis showed nothing but noise, random fluctuations and garbled data packets that made absolutely no sense. The engineering team initially suspected hardware degradation, which would be expected for a spacecraft launched in 1977. Here's what the raw data looked like: seemingly random sequences with no discernible pattern. Engineers tried every traditional decoding method in NASA's arsenal, but nothing worked. The signals continued growing stronger and more frequent, defying explanation. That's when JPL scientists turned to quantum computing. The Majorana 1 chip processes information fundamentally differently, analyzing millions of potential data relationships simultaneously instead of sequentially. When applied to Voyager's corrupted transmissions, something astonishing happened. This visualization shows the transformation. What appears as random noise suddenly reveals distinct geometric patterns when processed through quantum algorithms. The signal contains precise mathematical sequences that repeat with variations, hallmarks of intentional communication, not random interference. The breakthrough came when the quantum system identified a specific 127-bit sequence repeating throughout the noise. This sequence, when mapped visually, forms complex geometric patterns that couldn't possibly occur naturally. The moment scientists saw this structure emerge from the chaos, everything changed. This wasn't just a glitch, it was a message. But what's actually in this message is even more mind-blowing. The sequence contains embedded mathematical constants not used in Voyager's programming, arranged in ways that suggest deliberate encoding.
Wow, that's pretty wild, man.
Brian Cox previously theorized that quantum computing might reveal hidden patterns in astronomical data, too subtle for conventional analysis. But nobody expected it would uncover something like this. The full decoding is still underway, but early results point to something that defies conventional explanation. The decoded message contains something extraordinary. a precise mathematical sequence unlike anything in Voyager's programming. At its
That's pretty wild, man. I don't know. What do you guys think? Did I get fooled here? Did they cherry pick what they wanted to and just made up something to get clicks? Or you guys think this might be is this true? I don't know. Is this really a news story? Have any of you guys heard this anywhere else? I found it interesting. Figured I would share it with you guys. Let me know what you think.
Here's how I make 100 shorts per hour with AI. First, go to any
First of all,
long form
let me shut
YouTube
this
video
guy
and
up. Let's go this way. Where's this at?
Holy crap.
I don't see
This
a
thing is so
location here,
close.
man.
Project Pegasus, which was the U.S. time-space program at the time of the emergence of different forms of time travel in the U.S. defense technical community. It's been concealed from the American people that time travel existed as the secret twin, essentially, of Project Manhattan, the atomic bomb project. Because at the time that Project Manhattan was being formulated, and some of the world's leading physicists and engineers were being settled in Los Alamos, New Mexico, to develop the atomic bomb, Nikola Tesla's papers from his apartment in the New Yorker Hotel in Manhattan, New York, that had been seized by the War Department upon his death on January 7th of 1943, were forwarded by the president from the National Archives to Los Alamos, and they're still there. But Nikola Tesla's papers were never lost. 25 years later, by 1968, the U.S. defense community had pioneered Tesla teleportation, which is the...
I don't know about that. Found this guy pretty interesting. Talks about a lot of the things that I explore on this channel, so I decided to show it to
So the
you.
first question is, why are the aliens here? But even a question before that, are there really aliens? The answer is yes. The aliens have always been here. They're not just here now, they've always been here. Why is that? Because the Earth is a rare jewel in the galaxy, a rare jewel of life. It is rare in an otherwise empty universe to have such a beautiful source of life, self-sustaining life. That's Earth. That's our planet. We are part of that beauty. We are part of the species. We're beautiful people. We're on a beautiful planet. And this planet has attracted attention because of its beauty, because of its life, because of its resources. This planet has attracted attention, certainly for millions of years, possibly tens of millions of years. The aliens have always been here. So yes, they're here now, and we're about to embark on the first stages of an ascension, what I believe is to a fifth dimension. And I want to share with you how that's actually going to play out. There are going to be massive changes to the world. If we're going to ascend from a three-dimensional reality to a fifth-dimensional reality, it's going to involve a lot of breaking of bonds and old systems and structures to release those, and those that ascend will be able to ascend to a fifth dimension. But make no mistake about it, those breaking of bonds is going to be very, very disruptive. And most people are a lot of people are going to get hurt, and a lot of people are going to struggle and suffer. Some of us may already start feeling that trauma and disconnect. So just be prepared for that. Now, why don't the aliens just come down and just tell us what to do? There's three reasons. The first reason, and the most important one, is a language barrier. We speak English. They don't speak English. They're fifth dimensional beings. They don't speak three-dimensional languages. Through channelers, they're able to convert their fifth dimensional ideas into sequential English sentences through these channelers. So they can't just come down and, get in front of a blackboard and teach us how to raise our dimension to fifth dimension, because they don't speak linearly the way we speak. So there's a language barrier. The second barrier is a time barrier. When they transmit information to us, they transmit the whole information. They don't say, well, first I'm going to tell you this, then come back tomorrow, I'm going to tell you that, then this, then that, then a few years later you'll be ready and I'll explain this to you. They don't do it like that. They transmit information or download information to us, the whole thing. And then we, who have to do things sequentially in 3 dimensions, we're left to sort this message out over the next days, weeks, months, and years. So we have a time dimension problem. And then finally, the third gap between us and the aliens is an entire dimensional gap. We think in 3 dimensions. So we're limited not only to sequential time, but to only the things that we can see and experience with our 5 senses, with our lowest senses. When they look down, and you can actually, for a second, imagine yourself as a 5th dimensional being looking down on Earth, and what you would see is just millions and 8 billion balls of light. We are light to them. We are light to the aliens. And so what's happening in our world underneath that in 3 dimensions isn't real. It's a projection of our consciousness, and they don't share that reality. So we live in our reality that is different than what they see. So for example, I told you there's going to be a lot of disruption. Let's say 3 million people die. Well, to us, that's tragic, and it affects us, and now I am affected. I have a cousin or whatever. We're all interconnected, so we all experience this tragedy, say, when 3 million people die. It's a terrible tragedy. To the aliens, we're still light. We're just, those 3 million people now can serve the collective, or, go on their journey and be part of the universal light. So to them, it's not like we're dying. It's not like we're suffering or struggling. It's all imaginary. It's all in our consciousness. So there's a dimensional gap, which is why they can't just come in, stand in front of a whiteboard, and explain to us how to go to 5th dimension. Right? And by the way, before you can go to the 5th dimension, you have to understand how to go to the 4th dimension. And in the community, I'm going to teach classes. It's a simple meditation, how you can rise to the 4th dimension. Once you're in the 4th dimension, then we can have a conversation, and then we can start to learn how to rise to the 5th dimension. It's a totally different experience. The 4th dimension is easy. I can show that to you right away. But the 5th dimension is more integrated. You kind of have to integrate it into your lifestyle and your habits. You've got to make a lot of changes. So that's the challenge that we have in communicating with the aliens. So the first question is, why are the...
I don't know what you guys think, man. That's pretty out there, dude. But who am I? I certainly don't have the answers. I've heard these things before from other people. Does that make it truth? I guess we're gonna find out, right? According to him.
Like an animal. But then I've seen men become not people.
Like literally.
No.
Crazy. A former Bush official claims that the United States spent $21 trillion building a secret underground city. Her name is Catherine Austin Fitts, and she formerly served as Bush's Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. And she says that the United States government built this in secret in case of a near extinction event for the rich and powerful. She claims that this isn't just some underground tunnel, but that this is a massive underground city across the United States with over 170 bases. She even says some are under the ocean and that they're all connected with transportation. Also said that this isn't some situation where there's... This is crazy. Wow. A former Bush official claims that the...
Wow. I believe it. I just included that because I found it fascinating. What do you guys think of that? Makes sense, right? Why wouldn't they? They have the money. They have the means. Why wouldn't they? They have to keep it like a continuation of government if something like that would happen. If there was a near extinction, wow, this is crazy, dude. Near extinction event. Of course they would have countermeasures, right? When was that? May 5th? Yeah.
An exploding drone. That is not a drone, boys.
Yeah. stops a baseball game.
It's Harlan's birthday.
There's like little flashing lights around it. See that little thing's flashing? What is that?
What is that?
Don't look at it. You might die or something.
See the little things flashing above it? Yeah. See the little flashing lights?
I wonder if it's one of those, the things they let go and they fly in the air.
Could be a rocket, maybe.
It's exploding.
What do you guys think? That'd be like some. I don't know.
Mark Christopher Lee, or the King of UFOs, just shared some absolutely incredible footage of the Milk Hill crop circle from the 1990s, featuring a metallic orb flying over and dissipating off into the distance, right? And I found another piece of footage from the 1990s a few months after this one was captured of the same exact phenomena happening over a different crop circle. Metallic type orb flashing and it lands and then disappears off into the distance, and it kind of spooks a farmer in a tractor. And I'll play that at the end of this as well. But if we fast forward to today, the amount of sightings that we see in residential areas, crop circles, things of that nature, and even cities of these metallic spheres being seen moving in erratic ways, darting off instantaneously, floating in the air, not really doing anything or observing. And this is like something that has happened for many, many years. This isn't something new, man. And before you guys sit there and go, oh, it's hippies making crop circles. No, it's not. Well, there is some that are made by hippies, but if you look at my videos that I've explained before, there are a small portion that cannot genuinely be explained, right? There's plant mutations in the crop circle, there's residual radiation left behind, there's things that are inside this crop circle that are too mathematically perfect. There's not a singular plant fibre that is snapped and bent over like humans do because we're filled with errors. They are woven in such a perfect and precise way. But now, I'm going to show you this other piece of footage from a documentary where they see the exact same thing. So strap in, mate, and enjoy.
About a mile away from this massive crop circle was another crop circle which appeared on the same night, a long pictogram, which they're called. And on the 26th of July 1990, I took my video camera to this location, a place called Milk Hill, which is about a mile away, mile and a half away from Eastfield. I went there with my wife at the time, and it was a very hot day. I remember this day quite vividly, a very hot day. And we were up on Milk Hill and filming this crop circle. We were there for about an hour, just taking in the scenery, just enjoying the day. And then suddenly, as I was about to leave, I saw this glint out of the corner of my eye. And in the field, flying across the field where the crop circle was this strange object, bright, brilliant object, almost like tin foil reflecting sunlight. And this object moved across the field, and automatically I picked up my video camera and started filming. And this object went across the field, it arced around, dropped into the crop, and it was glinting and flashing all the time. And I was filming all this, not knowing what it was, not knowing whether it was something mundane, something like a bird or a balloon, but something in the back of my mind said it was something important, something unusual. And this object went through the crop and eventually took off and sped across the field, went off in a terrific speed. It went over a tractor driver who was in a field in the distance. And
I didn't see the second one. I saw the first one. I've seen the first one before this. It's actually a famous piece of footage. So there you guys have it. That's the episode. I put up the anonymous whistleblower leak. Showed you the documents that was up on Pavel. Got to some footage. That was interesting. That was fun. Crop circle one was really interesting. I saw that a while ago. You know what? I think I did an episode on crop circles. I don't know if I included that, but I figured I would include it here today. Show you guys. And so if you want to, please hit the like and subscribe, share with a friend. You want to contribute to the show, you can. It's at the bottom of the screen on, just whatever. If you just want to buy me a cup of coffee, a value for value type of thing. So if you found value in what I've shared here today and you enjoyed yourself, feel free to, support the channel, help us out. If you just want to watch, that's fine. I really enjoy just doing this, just to do it. I enjoy it. It's fun to explore these mysterious topics, these things that seem to be outside on the fringe of our awareness. It makes you really question what the nature of reality is. Do these beings exist? Are they here? Do they interact with us? How do they interact with us? What is the nature of reality? Is it really just what we see, or is this an illusion? And some people say it is an illusion. You know, some people say that there's another reality behind what we perceive, our consciousness. We don't get it all. We only see a very slim slither of the color spectrum. You know, you can't see radio waves, you can't see microwaves, gamma rays, beta waves, none of that. And it's just interesting that it's possible that there's a whole nother reality that we don't interact with. And you got these people who take things like DMT and other psychedelics, and they actually interact with, they say, other beings. That it kind of removes the filter, and they see a greater piece of the puzzle, so to speak. Is that possible, or is it just, you know, hallucination? I don't know. You know, Deepak Chopra, who's like a great like philosopher, doctor, and you know, he really goes in on this idea that we are sharing like a collective group hallucination, and he really gets into like non-locality, like these things that a lot of people don't think about, and it's fun to think about. It really is. It's fun to explore. It's fun to think about. That's why I enjoy doing it. The UFO phenomena is really closely related to consciousness and this whole idea of an illusion, group hallucination, non-locality, prana, and all these things. You know, and I read a lot of books about these things. I'm reading um Think and Think and Grow Rich, I believe it is. Napoleon Hill. And it's really Andrew Carnegie and these people who became like super rich, you know, and these principles that they used to get there. And supposedly all of us are able to do this. Whatever you put your mind to and you focus in on is what manifests in your life. Kind of like, you know, The Secret and The Key and all that stuff. Like, you know, now there's limitations. You know, it's not just, you know, hey, I'm going to think about this and boom, here it is in my hand. You know, it's much more in depth than that. And you'd be surprised. Like a lot of people, they focus in on the wrong thing in life, and it hinders them. And I believe it's hindered me, you know, in a lot of ways in my life. And I've seen the benefits of um, positive thinking, so to speak, visualization, you know, and it goes hand in hand with meditation, consciousness, and this UFO phenomenon is closely related to all of that. It really makes you wonder what the hell is really going on. So thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, share it with a friend. You want to check out my Patreon? None of it's behind a paywall. Just swing through the Patreon. You can become a member, man. Check out some videos. There's some things on there that I haven't released. You know, like I said, want to buy me a cup of coffee? Cool. If not, whatever, man. But thank you for tuning in. That's the main thing. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.